Does it harm children to have gay parents? Before looking up this research, I really wasn't sure what the answer would be or what I would find. On one hand, it makes logical sense to me that gay parents might actually be better parents on average than heterosexual couples, just because so many heterosexual couples accidentally get pregnant and then decide to go ahead and be parents. Whereas for gay people, I would assume that that would be less common for that to happen, that it would be a lot more common for gay parents to have planned for and wanted a child. So while a lot of heterosexual parents may have become parents when they really didn't feel financially and emotionally ready to be parents, I would imagine that that might be less common among gay parents. So that was a reason that I could imagine that gay parents might actually be better parents on average than straight parents. But on the other hand, I could make an argument going the other way as well. I could see a scenario in which the children of gay parents experience so much bullying from other people because their parents are gay that they end up having much worse outcomes than the children of straight parents. So, from my perspective, since I could see either one of those actually being true, I had no idea. Does it harm children to have gay parents? I wanted to find out. Let's talk about what I actually found. What I found was I was 100% wrong with both of my hypotheses. What I found was there is no difference between the kids who are being raised by gay parents and the kids who are being raised by straight parents. Now, what I found was summarizing lots of different research, but just rest assured that these researchers didn't only ask parents how they thought their kids were adjusting to life. They would also ask the kids and talk to them. They would also talk to teachers and maybe even other child psychology professionals. And on just about every measure that you can name, any way that you can measure a child's well being, the children of gay parents and the children of straight parents have about the same scores, about the same well being. For example, researchers look at parents' well being. Here they're going to measure things like parents' stress and parents' depression, things like that. And what they found is that gay parents and straight parents aren't different. Researchers will also measure the quality of parent-child relationships. Here they're looking at things like warmth between the parents and child, their interaction, how much disciplinary aggression is there, how responsive is this parent to their child's needs. And again, what they find is no difference. Researchers will also look at child adjustment. So, this is asking things like, does this child have any conduct problems? Is this child hyperactive? These are the sorts of questions they would ask there. And again, no difference between children of gay parents and children of straight parents. Of course, as I said at the beginning, one of my questions was, are the children of gay parents bullied at school for having gay parents? And what researchers found is, yes, the children of gay parents are sometimes bullied, but there's no evidence that this bullying is any more extreme, any more psychologically damaging, or any more unhealthy than other school bullying. After all, almost everyone at school is bullied, whether they have gay parents or not. Everyone is bullied for something, and there's no evidence that being bullied for having gay parents is any more damaging than being bullied for all the other things kids are bullied for. There was actually one difference that a lot of the research found over and over, which is that if you're looking at very young children, we're talking here about kids like from ages 2 to 4. Among those kids, the children of gay parents are less likely to engage in stereotypically gendered behavior than the children of straight parents. So, for example, the little boys that were raised by gay parents are less likely to play with G.I. Joes and guns. The little girls are less likely to play with Barbie and kitchen. Now, just to be clear, There isn't any psychology research that I found that actually thinks this is a bad thing. There's no psychology research that suggests that kids somehow need to play these gendered stereotypes. And not only that, the research that I saw said that almost certainly a child is going to start playing in more gendered stereotypical ways as soon as they start school. So this only applies to kids from ages about 2 to about 4 because they aren't at school yet. But as soon as a kid enters school, most kids that are elementary age end up in a friend group that is made up exclusively of other kids of their same gender. So if you're a little boy, you probably have a bunch of other little boy friends. If you're a little girl, then you probably have a bunch of friends who are girls, right? And those other friends are going to model for that kid stereotypically gendered behavior. This isn't a problem, and it's something that is going to disappear as soon as they start school. I did find some research from the United Kingdom that was comparing kids who were adopted into a family, and they compared the kids of gay dads and lesbian moms and heterosexual couples on a wide range of outcomes. And interestingly, what they found was that the kids of gay dads actually were better than the other groups. They did better on a wide range of measures. But I do want to say the researchers were pretty clear in their research that they don't think that somehow gay dads are magically better parents than all the rest of us are. Instead, what they said they think is happening is that in UK, a lot of adoption agencies have a lot of stereotypes that are really negative about gay dads. So their hypothesis was that when gay dads want to adopt, they have to jump through a lot more hoops than everybody else does, than lesbian moms do or than straight couples do, because the adoption agency is discriminating against them. So the only gay dads who are allowed to adopt are only the best of the best of the best gay dads, and the gay dads are held to a much higher standard than everybody else. If you were a person who was insisting that there is something different about gay people when they parent versus straight people when they parent, then you'd have to say that gay dads are actually better parents than straight parents. However, again, that's not even what the researchers thought. So here's a question based on something that I've heard multiple times. Don't kids need a mom and a dad? I've heard lots of people say this. Every kid needs a mom and a dad so that they have a role model for womanhood or manhood in life. So researchers have investigated this too. What they found is that the children of single parents, whether that single parent is a single dad or a single mom, and the children of gay parents, whether those parents are two dads or two moms, do they have plenty of representation in their lives, role models of men and women, and see how to grow up to become a man or a woman? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. Unless your kid is living in a bubble, which is a whole other issue in itself, pretty much everyone has some people around them of different genders. Most people are surrounded by neighbors and teachers and school principals and aunts and uncles and people at church or other social organizations, friend groups, grandparents. It would be an extremely weird situation, very unusual for a kid, no matter if they're growing up with a single parent or gay parents, to somehow grow up with only one gender around them. That just isn't real life. So these people who are insisting that you have to have a mom and a dad in order to have both genders represented in your life, what they're insisting just really isn't supported by data. All of us are raised in families that do not expose us to everything that is possible to do in the world, and yet we all know about parts of the world outside of our families. So even kids who are being raised with a single mom still have an idea of what fatherhood is and still have an idea of what masculinity is. Even kids who are raised by two dads still have an idea of what femininity is and what motherhood is. So, do kids have to have a mom and a dad in order to understand both fatherhood and motherhood? No, not really. There's no research to back that up. Let's talk about the problems with early research. So here's the deal. Some of you watching this video might say, but wait, I've heard about research that shows that the children of gay parents do not do as well as the children of straight parents. And it's true. There is some research out there that says that. So let's talk about this research and why it's usually very flawed. The earliest research on this topic of how kids might develop differently if they have gay parents versus straight parents came from like 1970s, 80s, 90s time period. During that period of time, almost all gay parents had the same autobiography. Almost all of them had been gay their whole lives, of course, but they had been pushed by their families or their religion or their own feelings of insecurity to marry someone of the other gender. They went into a heterosexual marriage and tried to make it work for years and had multiple kids in that marriage. And then after a period of time, they came out as gay. Their marriage fell apart and they divorced. And now they're raising their kids, usually on their own. That's how it usually was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And researchers would go and interview them, and they found that these kids had worse outcomes than the children of heterosexual couples. But what was actually happening was the researchers were almost exclusively interviewing the children of divorced gay parents and then comparing them with the children of heterosexual couples who were still married. Here's the problem. Those researchers had two variables going at the same time. One was, are the parents divorced? And two, are the parents gay? But the researchers were conflating those two. Lots of research has shown that when parents divorce, children generally have worse outcomes on average in all kinds of ways. So comparing the children of divorced gay parents against the children of married heterosexual parents wasn't actually a fair comparison. And a lot of the research from the 1970s, 80s, 90s, that era, made this mistake. So if you look at this old research, you're going to see that researchers say that kids of gay parents have worse outcomes, but it's not actually true. Once researchers started realizing the mistake they were making, first they just started comparing the children of divorced gay parents to the children of divorced straight parents, and what they found was there were no differences. The bad outcomes that they were thinking that they were seeing were actually the bad outcomes of divorce, not of having gay parents. Massachusetts was the first state to legalize gay marriage in 2004, and gay marriage was only legalized across the country in 2015. So it's only been fairly recently that researchers could actually compare a stable married gay couple to a stable married straight couple and see how their children turned out. And sure enough, it won't surprise you to learn that researchers have found no difference at all in the outcomes of children who are raised by married gay couples or children who are raised by married straight couples. So if you're looking at this old research, it can lead you to the wrong conclusion, but basically just don't trust any of the research on this topic unless it's from the past 20, maybe 15 years when researchers stopped making this mistake. Let's summarize. There is no difference between the children of gay couples and the children of straight couples. The kids of single parents and the kids of gay parents usually have plenty of exposure to role models and people of other genders. So there isn't really a concern that kids have to have both a mom and a dad. There's just no evidence that that's actually a real problem for gay parents. And also remember that the early research on this topic made the mistake of conflating gay parents with divorced parents and ended up with really bad research with misleading results. Remember that the reality is research has not found any difference between gay parents and straight parents.